talk tweezers. I'm eating a little snack, and I've got some time because I had a no call, no show, and we can all understand how frustrating a no call, no show is. Oh, hold on. So, I was asked by a subscriber to do a video on tweezers and how I select my tweezers, what I would suggest and things like that. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is how to select your tweezer for which lash job you're going to do. So whether it be classic, hybrid, volume, your tweezers are going to vary. And you're gonna determine like which tweezer you're comfortable with per job, but let's talk about like basics and traditional uses of each tweezer. So let's start with like a classic traditional tweezer. For a classic set, you're gonna use something that's got a straight point and you want it to have a good grip. And you're also going to want to learn your sweet spot. Everybody has, well, your tweezer has a sweet spot. And so you're going to grab your lash just so and pull it at the sweet spot of your tweezer and hold and dip into the glue, obviously. So anyway, I use a straight tweezer for any classic sets that I do. And this is the tweezer that I use to actually pick and apply the lash. And while I'm working with that tweezer on a set, I usually like to use a tweezer like this to isolate, but I've used others as well. I've used a straight tweezer, I've used a boot tweezer. It depends on A, what I have already clean and sanitized and on hand, and B, kind of what I'm feeling that day. So when I come into work, I set up all my clients for that day and lay their tweezers out. And so yeah, it just depends on like how I'm feeling, what I have available and all of that. But typically I like to go in with a curved tweezer to really isolate and open those lashes. And when you're looking for a curved tweezer or any tweezer to isolate, you're gonna want one that opens just enough to open and isolate that one lash. And I'll give you an example of one that wouldn't work for a lash. And there have been like little tricks that I've done with bad tweezers where I've kind of like pulled it open a little bit more, just to make sure that that opening is wide enough for me to get that lash in there and to avoid touching any other lashes. So just to revisit, these are my typical style of tweezers that I go for when I'm doing a classic set. Now for hybrid and my volume are pretty similar in what I like to grab and pick up to apply and to isolate. But with hybrid, I kind of mix it up. So with hybrid, I'm using these two because we all know hybrid is a combination of classic and volume lashes. So I use these, my typical classic lashes or classic tweezers, and then I also will throw in a boot tweezer. Now this is my favorite style of tweezer to use when I am grabbing and fanning out my lashes. You can just, in one day I'll make a video where I'm showing you how I create my fans, but this little boot on the end makes it easy to go in, select the ones that I want in my little sweet spot, place it down on the sticky part, fan out, lift back up and apply. And I apply underneath, so I don't know if that has anything to do with why I enjoy a boot tweezer to do my hybrid and volume sets with. So for a hybrid, these are typically what I would go in with. And there are different styles of boot tweezers. Some, depending on the company you're getting it from, it'll call it something different. But for me, I call them all boot tweezers. So those three are what I would use for a hybrid set. And then for what I would use for a volume set is just my isolation tweezer, which again is typically my curved tweezer. I might go in with another boot tweezer, or I might go in with a straight tweezer, but typically, again, I'm going in with my curved, and then I'm going in with my boot to pick and apply. So these two are what I would use for volume. Now, as far as my favorite brand, I would say the Vetus tweezer. Hopefully you can see that. The Vetus brand is my absolute favorite. It's sharp enough. They wear well in barbicide. I have not had an issue. They also expand enough for isolation and close perfectly. They also have a great sweet spot. Not all tweezers have a great sweet spot. And an example of that, oh, this is another kind of curved tweezer that I use for isolating. But an example of a tweezer brand that I did not care for, oh, and also Vetus tweezers you can find on Amazon, so that's always a plus. But a brand that I've used recently, I don't know how to pronounce that, so you can have a go at it. Didn't really enjoy it. First of all, the tweezers are very loose, and hopefully you get what I'm saying by that. So let me get an example. There's no sweet spot or anything like that. It just kind of slips off. I've also had to like pull it out wider in order to get it to open and isolate. So this is a brand that I don't prefer. And I'll talk about two other brands that I've also been enjoying. One of them called Miss Queen. This is another example of a boot tweezer, but this is more pointed. And then lastly, Bialian. I don't know, you guys, but that is the name brand. And this is again another boot tweezer. You can kind of see at the head it's a little bit more rounded than my other ones. So boot tweezers come in a large variety. Over to my phone because my camera is running low on space. But anyway, that was the end of the video anyway. Those are the tweezers I enjoy using. The Vetus are my absolute favorite, and hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly, but you can definitely find those on Amazon. Super sharp, super high quality, but with a low price point, which I love because what we do is super expensive. It can be very expensive. So wherever we can kind of not cut corners, I don't like that phrase, but we can kind of like save money, that's important. So let me know what you guys use, you know, for your different sets. If you use something different than from me for isolation or for picking up and grabbing your lash and applying your lash, let me know. But I have been trying to like go back and forth. Like for example, the Miss Queen tweezer that I just showed you guys, the gold one. That one, it was hard for me to get at first, but I wanted to get it so bad because it's a really pretty tweezer. I know that's silly, right? But I wanted to get it so bad, and I did. So you just kind of have to play with your tweezers whenever you have time. I wouldn't suggest, you know, trying to learn on a new tweezer with a client, like with an actual client, but maybe practice on family and friends, practice on your practice mannequin, and those are good ways to kind of like play around and see what you're comfortable with, how you prefer to isolate, and what you prefer to pick up and drop the lashes with. So I hope this video was informative, and I'm pretty sure you guys heard the air conditioner in the background the whole time. Hopefully that wasn't distracting, but it's hot, girl, okay? So anyway, please comment, rate, and subscribe, and come back to the next video. Please leave any suggestions for videos down below. I'm trying to get on a good schedule with my videos, and you know, just trying to progress and grow and give you guys good content. And I will see you in the next one.